Greetings, unwashed masses. This is Sean Cady, writer, editor, producer, star, filmer, director, and everything else of the film, the short film Future Perfect. Now, you might be wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses right now. To answer your question, no, I am not blind. Blinded possibly, but most definitely not blind. In this short complimentary to the film, I will be talking about a few of the things that I thought were really important in bringing the whole project together and creating the video you all now know, love, and probably worship. Thank you. I'd like to talk about a few of the earlier scenes, the ones based in the past. Now you see, it's actually a lot harder to do that sort of thing than you would think. I had virtually no budget when making this film, therefore I couldn't afford very expensive props in regards to clothing. The swords that you saw were ones that I actually owned. Now, the best that I was able to do, and I think it was still a pretty good job, was adding a sepia filter, basically making the whole event look like a flashback. I was sure to base every shot so you couldn't see any power lines or cars driving by, and you couldn't even hear anything that would be out of the ordinary in the time period. I also had everybody reverse their clothes, like pull them inside out so you couldn't see any logos or brand names or tags or anything like that. All in all, I think it was a relatively convincing for, this sort of video undergoing. Special effects have always been my favorite part of making a video. Really, the filters, the particle emitters, everything. Motion is just a blast to work with. When I was making all the magic and supernatural events, I tried to go for a sort of retro camp that you might see in some of the 1980s films related to swords and sorcery. Fire, lightning, sci-fi particle effects like laser beams or energy fields, all of them kind of came together. Some of them even blended together in very interesting ways. It had a very cheesy feel, but a very good cheesy feel, one that I think that any fan of the genre could appreciate. From the beginning, I had very much wanted to create a sort of a vortex or teleporter during the time travel scenes. The person inside seeming to fall through limitless space and undergoing a deafening rush of visual and auditory sensations. Kind of like the old Doctor Who look without the phone booth. Honestly, I could have added a phone booth probably, but it looked pretty awful and people wouldn't have gotten really how the reference applied to this since it's in the past and going to the future. In any case, I felt like it still worked together very well. I added a minor filter and a green screen, which imprinted the characters onto a giant swirling maelstrom of energy craziness, for lack of a better term. All in all, I think that worked very well for me. Another interesting feature alongside the main villain is always like, you might sometimes see a villain not actually part of the story, but still very, very important to the plot. This would be, in this case, quite literally, the source of all evil. The banner in which you see in the final composition of the ritual scene is actually a symbol found in the occult, although I will not divulge its exact nature. If you really want to know, look it up. While not actually directly engaging into the plot, the devil, as sorts, was actually driving it along by offering a reward to the main villain, Valkis, in reward for killing the protagonist. This is all kind of falling into the backstory category, and it's not perfectly explained, but you can still kind of get the basic sense of what's going on just through the subtext. On the editing aspect, I felt like the dark tone to the room, the flames, the smoke, all of which were real, by the way. That wasn't any filters or something. The smoke was actually just smoke. It really set the brooding and threatening tone of a force far greater than what is initially revealed. It makes you feel that there are much higher stakes than what you are currently aware of. Now, for the stare-off scene, there was really no subtlety for what I was trying to make. This is a spaghetti, western, and gunfight standoff through and through. Wide shot, two bitter enemies on either end, all this build-up, all this drama, and this sort of deathly calm before the storm. Before the proverbial crap hits the fan, really. However, while this cliché is in fact a cliché, that's kind of irrelevant because some clichés are so for a reason, and why people still really accept them in modern media, because they work. So that was, in essence, my at least spiritual intentions in creating this movie. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you watch it again, and I hope that you love it more than any other movie you have ever seen before in your life. But although this is kind of unrealistic, at least all the other things might in fact prove to be true. See you next time.